Welcome to this Coeur d'Alene area housing market update. It's February 2024. This month's update is really important because we've got some major news coming out of pending home sales as well as the Federal Reserve. My name's Phil Wells. I'm a North Idaho real estate agent that likes to keep up to date with the market, and I want you to be as informed as possible too. In this video, I'm going to bring you the facts that you need to know about the housing market at the national and local level without any of the nonsense fluff or clickbait headlines. Just a quick note before we get started. If you haven't already, go and follow me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active throughout the month, and that's where you can interact with me too. Let's get into it. Looking first at the most recent figures we have for national pending home sales, detailing sales from December, and it's big news this month. Contract signings were up 8.3% on a month-over-month basis in December, but the figure that we actually care about, the year-over-year figure, shows contract signings were up 1.3%, which breaks the streak of 30 consecutive months of year-over-year sales declines that we've been seeing. Here's what the National Association of Realtors chief economist had to say about December's pending home sales. The housing market is off to a good start this year as consumers benefit from falling mortgage rates and stable home prices. Job additions and income growth will further help with housing affordability, but increased supply will be essential to satisfy all potential demand. Home sales are projected to rise significantly in each of the next 2 years as the market steadily returns to normal sales activity. It is worth noting that pending home sales pretty much went as low as they could go without the housing market grinding to a halt. So you could argue that it's impossible for sales not to improve. But if you're a buyer or seller who statistically only enters the housing market for a couple of months every 7 years, then that's not relevant. What is relevant is that right now, home sales are improving. Let's move on and look at mortgage rates. Mortgage rates at the start of December were at 7.09%, and by the end of December, they were at 6.67%. So a pretty substantial drop there in terms of mortgage rates in December, to the lowest level we've seen in a while, which goes some way to explaining the pending home sales gains that we saw that month. Rates have since climbed to where they are today at 6.96%. It's worth noting that the overall trend for rates is down, and we are down a whole 1% from mortgage rate highs only 3 months ago. That rate of change without the Federal Reserve adjusting its base rate is pretty dramatic. Let's move on and look at mortgage application rates. This is exactly what it sounds like. We need to know how many people are actually applying for mortgages. These figures are reported weekly without any sort of a lag, so it is a good way to get a really good up-to-date impression of what the housing market's doing. As you would imagine, as rates declined in December, mortgage applications picked up in a big way before pulling back around the historically slow Christmas and New Year period. Throughout January, application rates continued to accelerate in leaps and bounds before pulling back towards the end of the month as rates approached 7% once again. As mortgage rates come down, it is important to remember that interest rates aren't the only factor at play here in the US housing market. We also have a major inventory shortage. I reported last month that Axios had come out with new figures suggesting we are 3.2 million homes short here in the US. And as these mortgage rates come down, that issue is going to take front and center stage once more. So people are going to switch from saying that they can't afford a home to there aren't any homes available to buy. Now let's take some time and look at national median home prices. National median home prices in December were $402,000, which is down on a month-over-month basis, which reflects usual seasonality, but we're actually up 3.7% on a year-over-year basis. I am still shocked every single time that I see home prices still increasing in the face of these current high mortgage rate headwinds. Just imagine what's going to happen to home prices when mortgage rates have a 5 handle again. Do you think they're going to go up, or do you think they're going to go down? Now let's summarize the national market so we have something to compare our local market to. We just broke a 30-month streak in terms of year-over-year sales declines. Last month, the National Association of Realtors said in no uncertain terms that we will see home sales improve in 2024, and so far, that's proving accurate. Mortgage rates are up a little bit. They are back up to around 7%, but it is worth noting that the overall trend is down. We haven't seen the Fed lower its base rate yet, so when that does finally come down, these mortgage rates are gonna start to tumble. We also have encouraging news that there are still buyers waiting in the wings because we saw mortgage application rates increase in leaps and bounds in December and January as rates came down. Home prices continue to climb and they show no signs of slowing down. So if you're a prospective prospective buyer out there thinking that great, mortgage rates are coming down, I'll just wait until they have a 5 handle and then I'll pounce. The figures are showing us that there are buyers waiting in the wings, thinking the exact same thing. To the best of my ability, I think this is a wise decision to buy now while you can. I did the exact same thing. I bought a property when mortgage rates were at 8%. I bought a great fixer-upper project, and I was the only one negotiating with the seller for about a week before we went under contract. If mortgage rates had been 5%, I probably would have been one of 5 or 6 offers and probably wouldn't have got that contract. Just think about this. If you have the ability to buy right now, but you're holding off for a better mortgage payment. In the future, you could be sat on equity and waiting for a refinance instead. If you're a seller, then know that it's not the ideal time to sell, but we are seeing home sales pick up. We're seeing home prices stay strong and actually improve. And as mortgage rates come back down, home buyers have more and more purchasing power, which is great news for you. Don't expect a line around the block and a packed showing schedule, but I have encountered several multiple offer situations this month, and my last listing got 4 offers the same week that it was listed. So you definitely can sell your home right now. Remember too what I was saying about low inventory. That works to your advantage as a home seller. Now let's look at the Coeur d'Alene market and see how it compares to that national picture we just painted. Actual sales were up 15.2% on a year-over-year basis, which is significantly ahead of the national market. We were seeing a pretty stagnant market in the Coeur d'Alene area for a while, so it's nice to see homes are getting sold once more. There was quite a large buildup of inventory to clear out, so it's great news if you're a home seller or a prospective home seller in the Coeur d'Alene area. Median home prices are down 9.95% on a year-over-year basis to $470,000. I can definitely see the reason for the sales increase there. Prices are starting to budge in North Idaho and people are accepting less for their homes just to get it sold. Fantastic news if you're a buyer looking to buy a home in one of the most amazing parts of the world. Not necessarily good news if you're a seller looking for top dollar for your home right now. Before we move on, just look at the median sales price compared to the median list price, $470,000 versus $600,000. That just goes to show the importance of doing your research before you list your property. A good agent might challenge you on prices, but will always back it up with data. An agent that's just agreeing with everything you have to say, including your list price, just wants a listing. Inventory is sat at 1,351 units, which is up 15.9% from this time last year. We can also see that absorption rates, also known as months of supply, is at 3.77 months, which is the lowest I've seen in a while. It just goes to show that despite the increase in inventory, more homes are being sold than are being listed right now. Days on market in the Coeur d'Alene area are beginning to increase again. We're at 125.4 days on market. To me, that doesn't make sense. If sales are picking up and months of supply are coming down, it must mean that there are a lot of overpriced listings on the market that have been there for a long time and are skewing the numbers. So if you're a buyer in the Coeur d'Alene market, there is a good opportunity right now. Homes are selling at a 10% discount versus this time last year. Do the math yourself. Does that extra interest that you're going to be paying until you can refinance add up to a 10% discount? I think you'll find it doesn't. If you're a seller right now, proper preparation, as always, is key. Be realistic about your listing price and consider reasonable offers. Otherwise, you may end up being on the market for a long time just to find out that your home doesn't sell. And if you can't face the market right now because it's too uncertain, consider this an opportunity to take on some of those interior renovation tasks you've been putting off that are going to make your home more valuable and attractive to buyers when you do get around to sell it. Feel free to reach out to me about which renovation projects make the most sense and which are a waste of time. I'm always happy to give you my 2 cents. Now let's move on and look at some real estate news that stood out to me this month. As always, my sources are posted in the description to this video. The biggest piece of news I saw this month was the slight pivot we've seen from the Federal Reserve recently regarding the speed of cuts to its base rate, which will directly impact mortgage rates. According to CNBC, the Fed during its January meeting signaled once more that it's done raising interest rates, but said that it's not yet ready to start cutting rates. Jerome Powell then sat down with 60 Minutes and expanded on this by saying he needs to see inflation at or close to 2% before cutting rates. Pulling expectations back even further, Neil Kaskari from the Minneapolis Federal Reserve suggested there are only going to be 2 or 3 rate cuts this year, which is half what the market was expecting as recently as December. So a pullback in terms of optimism from the Federal Reserve there. Yes, getting inflation under control is a noble task, but you'll remember this Federal Reserve has a habit of doing things too little, too late. Do you remember when they called inflation transitory, for example? The next piece of news is from Zillow, and it underscores what I've been saying for some time now. The American dream is still owning a home. There's a lot of pent-up demand for ownership that isn't going to go away. That just goes to reiterate what I was saying before, that if you're a buyer waiting on the sidelines, thinking you'll pick up a better mortgage payment when rates do come back down to 5%, there's a lot of people out there thinking the same thing. Lastly, I saw a terrifying statistic this month from wealth.com. Nearly 50% of people aged 18 to 29 are living with their parents. We often talk about the housing market as a property ladder, and what's clear from this is that we need more properties that represent that bottom rung on the ladder. We need more townhomes, more condos, more one-bed, one-bath homes like they used to build. Did you know that the average size of a home has increased dramatically over the last 100 years? Previously, homes were built to be 1 or 2 bedroom, 1,000 square foot homes. Now they're averaging 2,500 square foot. So with that extra square footage comes more bedrooms and a higher asking price. If people are going to realize that American dream we were talking about, of which home ownership is a major part, we're going to need more entry-level homes being built. Now for a bit of inland Northwest news. Spokane Airport got another $15 million loan from the Spokane County Treasurer to expand its terminals. That airport is going from strength to strength, and every expansion, new construction project, or direct route cements the inland Northwest as a place to live, work, and do business. It's just a thought, but maybe we expand some passenger train routes through Spokane and North Idaho as well. Did you know you can get to Portland, Seattle, Minneapolis, and Chicago from the inland Northwest? You can also do short haul routes. You can get to Sandpoint from Spokane and Leavenworth too. I'm from the UK, where train travel is much more common, and I know that US cities are built for cars, not pedestrians, but I still like the idea and I'd like to see it. That's it for this video. I hope you gained from the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. That actually does help me out. If you are looking at buying or selling in the Coeur d'Alene area, please reach out to me. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, and I'd be honored to work with you. Until the next video, my name is Phil Wells, and thank you for watching.